There we go. Through the prayers of Holy Fathers of Jesus Christ, God have mercy on us and save us. And then make sure the microphone is not off here too. Okay. For those who don't know and can't read on the screen, it's Father Joseph Sweden. Okay, seriously, I'm pretty sure there's audio. Checking again. Okay, can you hear me now? It's this wonderful mic, and my own stupidity. So what I really just need is a longer cable. God bless you, Taylor, for those who ask. This is kind of a live open challenge stream. I am trying to do something different, so we're going to look at. I have some topics to talk about, but basically, looking for people who want to challenge the Orthodox faith. As always, I'm trying the afternoon. That's why it looks a little brighter. It's my lamp versus daylight. Let me see here, and I would love to hear some people would love to challenge the position of the Moscow Patriarchate, because that's basically going to be our first topic. May as well just make it so. For those who were following yesterday, we did try to read the JFK files. I will still be doing that. And for those wondering why I'm doing that, is because I am looking for specifically USSR related documentation. And I want to see how that relates to things like the Moscow Patriarchate. We saw yesterday there was a guy who was involved in the National Council of Churches in the US, but that wasn't that much. But hey, we still have 79,000 pages to go through, so we're not going to do that today. Today basically is an open challenge. I have been looking around. It looks like, I don't know, maybe it's Lent. Maybe it's because people are so spiritually focused that they don't want to talk about the Moscow Patriarchate or Ecumenism or the Ecumenical Patriarchate. They can't handle it. They're just like, no. That's what I mean. That could be one hypothetical explanation. I think a better explanation is, frankly, it's a good excuse to not talk about it. But in any case, that's not stopping like the organs of the Patriarchate from talking about their stuff. So of course they met with the primate of the Armenian Church. This was like what 3 days ago, and they had a nice meeting there. This is Karakin the second of the Armenian Monophysite, Armenian Apostolic Church, whatever you want to call it, but it's the Monophysite ones. Metropolitan Anthony, that's the new head ecumenist of the Moscow Patriarchate, this guy here. Conveyed to the primate of the Armenian Apostolic Church fraternal greetings from His Holiness Patriarch Kirill of Moscow and all Russia, as well as congratulations on the 25th anniversary of the primate's ministry. Catholicos Goregan, they kind of soften it to G, it's K everywhere else, asked to convey his gratitude to His Holiness Patrick Kirill for his attention and love for the Armenian Apostolic Church and for him personally, and noted in the current difficult times that our peoples are experiencing, the churches must prayerfully support each other. During the conversation, the chairman of the AECS, DECR, when you translate from Google, the things change a lot, thanked the primate of the Armenian Apostolic Church for supporting the persecuted Ukrainian Orthodox Church. This would be the UOCMP. I'm not sure why a Monophysite Patriarch is taking a side, but he is. So that is, kind of interesting. And so outside of that, let's see what else we find on this wonderful page. For those who don't know, the page I'm referencing is mospat.ru. This is the Department of External Church Relations of the Moscow Patriarchate. You'd be surprised at how much stuff they write in Russian that doesn't make it to the English page. Watch this. So, this is a synod meeting. He's talking about Anthony Volokomansk, again, the DCR guy, going to Lebanon. It says the Synod approved a number of personnel decisions regarding dioceses and parishes of the Russian Orthodox Church abroad. Don't be fooled. It is not talking about the ROCOR MP. It is actually just talking about literal MP parishes abroad. There is no mention whatsoever of the ROCOR MP. It's almost like they're just slowly fading out of existence. And I think that's kind of the plan. Let's take a look here. What else are we doing? So yeah, we have that. Looking for more stuff. There's been some, a lot of there's been, a lot of ecumenical pushing on Twitter, hoping that Rome and Constantinople unite. Let me see if I can find some of that junk. It's really depressing when you go through it, because we have to talk about the fact that things are not organized nearly as well as we would like, in terms of the true Orthodox world, in terms of getting things done. It's great that many people are finally joining true Orthodox churches, etc. Um, Communications channels between different jurisdictions are terrible. And I did get a suggestion to do a show on the old believers. Let me see here. User documents showing Kirill as a KGB agent were defined in Russian, not the CIA document. In all honesty, what you really need to do is just use search engines. I tell this to people all the time. Even though search engines are horrible with these AI makeovers, you can kind of skip past usually on most of them and just go down to links. And really, all you have to do is type in KGB and Mikhailov. Hello, Herman. What can I do for you today? God bless you.
Yeah, you too. I was just wondering, I've talked with like very many, like mainstream world Orthodox, and they
Uh
seem
huh.
to don't care, or they're just like not interested, or it's like generally a little bit like not hate, but like just I don't know what the word, but like are they complicit in it, or they just don't care? Like
I
what?
think once you get to the point of not caring, like literally not caring, where you're just saying it doesn't matter, yeah, at that point you're virtually complicit. If I say to you that your leaders descended from people who murdered the catacomb church, and your answer is who cares? Well, I
Yeah,
mean, what do you say to that? That at that point, you're
yeah,
dealing with people who don't care, and more importantly, if they're that disinterested in the state of their soul, then what else can you do about it? All
it's
you can
super
do is
sad. Like I don't know what to say. It's maybe because their parents were in the same like church, I guess. There's like world Orthodoxy, I guess, and then their grandparents as well. But like it gets to a point what do you do? Like you talked with them like nicely about it, but like there's nothing you can do about that.
right. Well, all you can do, and this is something to understand, especially for true Orthodox Christians who feel isolated, is to all you can really do is just talk to other true Orthodox Christians about it, etc. Because ultimately, if the people you care about ostensibly think it's a pointless matter, and I don't think it's usually, at least not outside of in this country. I would say people would say, I built, we built this church 100 years ago or something, but like that's not the case in the Soviet Union. I mean, people, these issues are alive for them, and so they know.
Yeah,
This is it's just kind of ridiculous, but yeah. So that's a good question, but yeah,
yeah.
the only thing you
Because
can
I
do
get
is
like
just
I get it online because of people are crazy online, of course. Like, that's to be expected. But like in real life, like they're not okay, they're nowhere near like online crazy, but they're still like there's some like resentment towards it, I guess. Like and that's super sad. It's hard.
well, the resentment comes from I mean, a part of it is cognitive dissonance. Imagine if you spent your life trying to find the Orthodox Church, and then you realize that you've fallen for a scammer in robes. I mean,
Yeah,
we used to call them KGB agents in cassocks. Um, and the point is, like, if that's you have a fundamental personal experience that goes with it. And you have to keep that in mind, especially when you're looking at the psychology of people who are not interested in becoming true Orthodox, even though they claim to be Orthodox. Like, it's understandable when you're dealing with, like, it's more understandable, I should say, when you're dealing with like Protestant or Roman Catholic parents. Like, obviously, it's a whole different world to them.
yeah,
But it is it's somewhat more difficult when you're dealing with people joining the ecumenists or the surgionists or the ecumeno-surgionists, if you will. Because a lot of the times, even when they joined, it was celebrated on both sides because of the fact that they were all ecumenical brethren.
Yeah.
And the way of the church is the narrow path. It's not as simple as that. So yeah, great points all around. Did you have any other questions or comments on that?
No,
Questions, John?
other,
All right.
that's all.
Well,
Thank
okay.
you.
Well, God bless you. You have a great rest of your day. As said before, anyone can join into the chat. Looking to see if people are willing to challenge some of the things that we talk about here, particularly if anyone's willing to defend the Moscow Patriarchate. I'm actually going to put that on the screen. I'm going to just say, I'm going to just put it out there. Can you defend the Moscow Patriarchate? I don't believe anyone can. And I believe that this is an opportunity for those who want to try to do so. I don't believe that there's anyone who really can, and that's part of the reason why a lot of these people hide from us and they try to use shadow bans because they can't defend the Moscow Patriarchate. What it comes right down to is people are not yet Donatists. What it comes right down to is people, making a lot of claims, especially pro-Moscow Patriarchate people. We've seen the poor case of people trying to defend the Greek New Calendar state church, which is awful. Someone did make a point, and this is, I think, worth discussing recently in comments, and I will get to it. Give me just a moment while I do that. Let me see here. This was a comment on why does Father Peter Hears hate true orthodoxy? So I'm going to try to put the comment up directly. Give me just a moment while I close this. And we're going to pop, and it disappeared. And we're going to go underneath that. All right, this was an interesting comment. I'm going to share this. This was on the Father Peter Hears video. It was 2 hours ago. From Riso Politi. Okay. Interestingly enough, Peter Hears recently admitted that apart from the Pascalian, Meneon too was condemned. See the video title on the 2025 joint Pascha between the Pope and the EP, 149 till 153 by the Orthodox. So it seems that the claims that Sigillians are supposedly forged collapsed. Yeah, that's true. And I think any honest new calendarist will eventually admit that. Not claiming that Father Peter is an honest new calendarist, but at least he'll admit it when he thinks no one else is looking on our side. Those who are born and raised in pan heresy or have been taught by ecumenists. Let me just make sure that this is, it's not visible. Hold on. Those who are born and raised in the pan heresy or taught by ecumenists cannot by any means know the Orthodox patristic response to heresy. It's a blatant contradiction. It's a presupposition that they falsely hold to that is bound to fail. The last decade, some monks and lay people decided to use the 15th canon of the First Second Synod without returning to the genuine Orthodox Church, who used the canon accurately and on time, just like the Protestants who left from the Pope, but didn't return to the original church. They go their own way. They interpret the canons according to themselves, based on their already contaminated ecumenistic faith and ecclesiology. Unfortunately, the number of supposed saints that were manufactured and promoted after the Synod of 1924 is unbelievable. In order for a saint to be recognized, a lot of criteria must be met. First of all, they must be baptized Orthodox, remain Orthodox until their death, which wasn't the case. Also, their relics must commit miracles by the grace of God. Yes, we do know this. The ecumenists haven't even revealed the bodies of these elders. Yeah, we know. Come on, are they blind or so blind to admit to the genuine Orthodox or the true Orthodox they willingly blind themselves? For them, it is worse to be a GOC than a pan heretic. They're at that level of arrogance and repentance. Okay, I can agree with that here. Also, the state church passed a law in 2014, according to which in order for the state to accept our sacraments, wedding, baptism, we have to be self-defined as heterodox to the Orthodox faith, recognizing the Orthodox state church, i.e. the ecumenists. God forbid, some synods bowed their knee to the ecumenists, Kalinikos, and some Chrysostomites, sadly, but it was expected. I'm not sure what the jurisdictional leaning of the author is. I will say that that's a pretty complex matter. To give you an idea of how complex, the law that's being mentioned, I'll just put that up on the screen. So this is the law. This is the kind of the 2014 law on religion, which talks about basically you kind of have to. It's a law about regulating religion. Now, if you remember, the new Greek constitution does list that the Greek Orthodox Church, as known as the national church, must be subordinated to Constantinople. So this basically describes non affiliated Greek church organizations. And this was something that has been controversial in Greece since 2014. As I understand, the Synod of Archbishop Kallinikos, which is what this commenter was referencing, is they basically chose a different name so that they wouldn't be impugned as part of the state church. Many true Orthodox disagreed with this, and when they did, they said, no, we're the state church of Greece. So the state church of Greece, the new calendars came out with lawsuits, such as against the Matthewites, and tried to take their buildings. Interestingly, on the screen right now, we have special exemptions for Greek Catholic parishes. Now, I at first I thought that this was maybe just like a kind of a definition of the church in Greece and was using Catholicos like that. No, this is actually referring to Greek Catholic churches. In fact, it mentions the Greek Armenian Church and its special legal status. If we scroll a little, they got quite a few. This is Apostolic Vicarious Thessaloniki. So for the Exarchate of the Armenian Catholics in Greece, this is actually the Cathedral of St. Gregory the Illuminator, which is a Roman Catholic. It's a Uniate church in Greece, a Uniate Armenian church with 200 people. So this Greek law will actually, it's here to protect even papists, but it's meant to screw over true Orthodox, and that's what it does. See what we got here. OTP says Jason Hunt, Presbyterian Ethos, and Living Surgeonism can definitely defend the MP. So can Moses, Trenbolone, McPherson. Well, ask them on. I don't. I love to hear about this thing where all these people can defend the Moscow Patriarchate, but none of them will, and they never do. So let us take this off the screen, and we're going to go back to here. Let's see if maybe we can chase down people. Let's see if there's any live people on YouTube we can chase down. So let's go back to YouTube. We're going to go to subscriptions. We're going to go to live. Hold on. Okay. And we're going to hit list. No, that's the wrong thing. I'm trying to find what's live. Let's see if there's anyone we can bother live. No, not really. I'm going to hit live. Looking. I don't know. I was on the Breakfast Tacos channel a little while ago. He's an atheist guy, but he sounds like he wants to be a Protestant preacher for atheism. Pretty sad. Nope. No, there's really no one interesting live right now. If there's someone interesting live right now that I should be commenting on, let me know, because I am not aware of anyone. I was hoping to kind of hoping to see if we could find some defender of the Moscow Patriarchate, but it doesn't look like there's anyone that wants to take up a challenge. I'm gonna keep it open. Maybe I'll change it to something more inviting. Hold on, give me a second. All right, so with this, I can now say that we are, doing this, and of course, I'm going to, ask to support the channel because, frankly, again, this is kind of how I, this is kind of how I make my living. Part of it, and I try to kind of balance it out between helping people, as clergy, and then doing the apologetical thing. But it does seem like a lot of people are afraid to jump in. So let's see what we got. Saba says, unexpected live stream. God bless you, Saba. Actually, I do want to talk to you. There was a suggestion made by somebody about doing a stream where we talk about the old believers and how they are not the true Orthodox. And someone suggested you, so hopefully we will touch on that. Let's see what else is going on here. It doesn't look like let's see. There's about past the usual ecumenism you expect from the Moscow Patriarchate. Most of the stuff, there was an iftar dinner for from the King of Jordan, who was I guess I will put up member chats because he is a member. Bada bing, bada boom. Yeah, we'll talk about it, and hopefully we can do something next week, I guess, because it's already Thursday. But let's take a look here. So, yeah, if you can support the channel, support us by subscribing or donating at NFTU.net with various options like PayPal, Cash App, BTC, LTC, or Monero, or on Give, Send, Go. All of these are very helpful. So, let's take a look here. And once again, I have my window open, by the way. It's fresh air, so occasionally you might hear something terrifying like all right, so let's click YouTube, generally, not my subscriptions, and let's click live and see what we find. Poker player, no. No, it doesn't look like Netanyahu is leading to the collapse of Israel. Yeah, okay. Not sure who that guy is. Okay, there's some stuff I don't understand why I even get. Yeah. Yeah, so it looks like well, let me see here. Let's try some stuff. Yeah, there's not much going on. This was interesting. A guy named Chad Bro apparently decided to release a video earlier today. I saw it and I was like, "What the heck is this?" Okay, and since then he's released "Can Christians Do Drugs?" So let's take a look at what this guy has to say here. Give me a moment and answer that while we wait for new challenges. And let me see here. John MC said, just read on Paul Gilbert's Nicholas II site that the Ministry of Culture is planning to soon erect statues of Tsar Nicholas II, Lenin, and Yeltsin embracing old Russian communist new Russian flag. Wow. That's terrible. Saba says, we've been having lovely weather. Yep, we have lots of pollen, warm but not hot, beautiful flowers. Yeah, we're growing vegetables indoors because we're always afraid of another cold front about to hit. So we'll see how that goes. So let's see what Chad Bro has to say here about the Eastern Orthodox Church. Give me just a moment. We're gonna pull him up. And that's the only thing I saw in a whole bunch of Orthodox Memzur videos. There's always a lot of Armenian and Monophysite stuff. They're very good at YouTube, and everyone needs to get better at that. So let's put this up. It's a video called "The Eastern Orthodox Church." No tomatoes yet. At this wrong time of the season. You don't really see them until July or August. Okay, let's see what he has to say and make sure he's on the screen. Okay.
Says, no. Look at the founding fathers. Don't just use his Bible alone.
Did he say the founding fathers?
God said, you add to his book, you take away from it, you're in big trouble, you're going to have plagues. Don't believe them. The Bible says,
I think he's talking about the book of Revelation.
in Jude chapter 1 in verse number 3, the faith was delivered once to all saints. The Bible says faith comes by hearing, and hearing by the word of God. Someone had asked me, Chad, have we ever considered being an...
Wait. So in other words, the people who got it by faith and hearing by the word of God before there was a Bible, which would be the first 4 centuries, and then of course the people who heard it before there were mass printed Bibles, which would be the 16th centuries. I'm assuming those people still had the faith.
Eastern Orthodox. Have you ever considered it? And here's my blunt, straightforward answer. No, I would never ever consider it because it's not the truth of God. It's not in
Okay. Well, I think that we claim to be the Church of God, but
the Bible. It's a lie from Satan. I'm being very blunt because oftentimes people like to come to my channel and they love to be blunt as well and say lying things, such as all you have to do is have faith, such as the Church of Christ is a lie from Satan. They like to say things
the Church of Christ isn't alive?
like that. So let me be very blunt as well.
Okay.
I'm saying this in a very loving way.
Okay.
This is what you need to know, friends. The Eastern Orthodox Church is a lie from Satan. You
Where you get that?
can't find it anywhere in Scripture, but what you
You can't find the word Bible anywhere in Scripture.
can find is Romans 16:16 gives us a biblical name for the church. It's called the Church of Christ. What
Yeah, we call ourselves that.
you can find is the Bible said that they were called Christians
Yeah.
first in Antioch.
Yeah.
Never ever will you
Did you know there was an there's an Antiochian church, right?
find someone called an Eastern Orthodox. Never
That's because everyone was Eastern at that time.
ever will you find someone called an Orthodox in the Bible. The Bible
Okay, so just right believing. He's got a problem with the term right believing, so I'm assuming he's including Gnostics.
says if anyone suffers, let him suffer as a Christian. It doesn't
What?
say suffer as an Orthodox. It's no
What?
such thing as a hyphenated Christian.
We don't believe in hyphenated Christians.
That's division. God
Uh-huh.
condemns division. He says in 1 Corinthians 1, verse 10, the Apostle Paul said that I plead with you, brethren, by the name of our Lord Jesus Christ, that you all speak and teach the same thing, and that you be perfectly joined together, and that
What book
there be
is this
no
again?
divisions.
Hold on.
And name of our verse 10, God condemns division. He says in 1 Corinthians 1, verse 10,
What were they called?
God condemns division. He says in 1 Corinthians 1, verse 10,
So they were Corinthian Christians? Or am I missing something?
the Apostle Paul said that I plead with you, brethren, by the name of that. Some of you say I'm of Paul, I'm of Cephas.
Yep, heard this one before too. Okay. A dog's trying to catch something.
And that's not the truth. Is Christ divided?
No.
Was Paul crucified for you, or were you crucified in the name of another man? No, no, no.
What does this have to do with being Orthodox versus being some rando Protestant?
You need to be a Christian, nothing more, nothing less. It's no such thing as a hyphenated Christian. Saying that I'm an Orthodox Christian is a division.
Okay, well, what if you refer to yourself as a Unitarian Christian? Like, eventually, the purpose of the naming conventions, this is like some low-tier stuff.
That's division. It's completely division.
Uh-huh.
No, I would.
Some people are, there's some comments here. Y'all are getting, don't get too upset with me. Look, it came out today. I'm looking for the latest thing, okay? I'm trying.
I would never ever be a contradicting person because the Bible doesn't contradict. And no, I would never ever be an Eastern Orthodox because the Bible speaks totally against it. They
Well, yeah, except for the fact that it's our book, so.
will tell you, perhaps they'll say things like this.
Mm-hmm.
You need to look at the founding fathers. Look at
The founding fathers again.
all the founding fathers documents.
Again.
You need to follow traditions of men. No, sir. God said in the book of Matthew, these people, they draw near to me with their mouth, but their heart is far from me. And
who is he talking about?
they worship me. They teach the doctrines and commandments of men. So they will.
Who is he talking about?
Tell you to keep the commandments of men, but God says.
See, basically, this dude's calling us Pharisees, and it's kind of stupid. Like it is. This is really low tier stuff. I agree. It is non sequitur. Orthodox Boomer Grimm basically gave up on the stream after hearing this. This is terrible. This is bad.
These people draw near to me with their mouth, but their hearts far from me. In vain, they worship me.
You know what bothers me about this is that he's basically applying epithets used by our Lord against totally different people and saying, oh, that's them. Well, who's to say that's not you, dude?
They teach doctrines and commandments of men.
What if I said that same thing about you, considering you keep talking about the founding fathers?
It's all a lie, friend. Don't you follow Eastern Orthodox? Don't you believe that?
Uh-huh.
And another scripture that makes it very clear.
Yep.
The Bible says in Revelation chapter 22 and verse number 18, for
Mhm.
I testify to everyone who hears the words of the prophecy of this book.
Uh-huh.
If anyone adds to these things, God will add to him the plagues that are written in this book. And if anyone takes away from the words of this book of prophecy, God's going to take away his part from the book of life.
So basically, if anyone changes the book of Revelation, which we haven't done, then basically, yeah. Okay.
From the holy city and from the things which are written for this book. Written in this book is what it says.
Ouch. Okay.
So
Someone said
God literally just said, or
someone said I'm losing IQ points right now. I'm not sure. Yeah. This is okay. This is terrible. This is terrible. All right. Yeah, like Martin Luther took out OT text. I realize these arguments. This is yeah. Okay. How far? 4 out of 11 minutes. I think we're done. Let's go. Let's just stop sharing. See what we got. Okay. Let's see. All right. I'm trying to watch this. See if we should watch this atheist thing. But it's terrible. Okay. So let's continue on. Well, I guess this is something I'll throw out to the chat because have you confronted anyone who would you'd like them to have a chat with me? I'm down with it. It's tiresome. Yeah, Reader John says Chad sounds like a 700 Club reject. Yeah, he does. Kind of like a Mickey Mouse 700 Club reject, considering how old the 700 Club is. Give me a moment. Hold on. Let me see. Speaking of Protestants, I saw PT's recent post about a Protestant debate about Nicaea II, and he mentioned the Council of Uriah and Frankfurt. PT? Who is PT? I know that I confronted James White on one of those things. But that's not necessarily relevant. Was the Council of Frankfurt, was it legitimate or was it a forgery? I have no reason to believe the Council of Frankfurt was a forgery, though obviously can investigate the. Oh, Patrick Trulia. Okay, that's pretty funny. All right. So yeah, I don't know that I would go so far as to say something's a forgery if it's been long historically attested to. But yeah, so I haven't seen anything Patrick said in months. I think I actually unfollowed him with a lot of things. Yeah, we're still doing the thing. I think that until we address the elephants in the room, we're not gonna get much further than we can, except just keep on proclaiming the truth. It's the simple reality is the news today shows the ecumenical path remains unimpeded. People use Frankfurt as a proof that the Franks condemned iconoclasm or whatnot. Romanitas was big on it. I'm sure we could do another stream on the Franks. I could always ask Bishop Enoch if you wanted to. There's so much misinformation. I don't know what happens. Like I will bring up stuff related to the Franks and how Romanitas misused a lot of quotations, misused a lot of the stuff that he got. We'll talk about it. We'll put stuff on the screen, and 6 months later, it'll be like, no, Romanitas was right. It's like talking to people with I don't know. it's difficult, if not impossible, to uproot um, long held stupidity. And there's not much that, I think any of us can do about it if we're being honest, realistic. But that's kind of where things stand. It's just basically, it's, we continue on. And unfortunately, that's true about a lot of the facts that we bring up. Whether it be on the calendar, whether it be on the Soviets, etc. People, I think there's just, people head into this kind of head in the sand mode, an ostrich mode. There's nothing that can make them break out of it. In that sense, a lot of the work we do, and I hate to say this, is we really need to talk to people who are frankly new to Orthodoxy and explain to them the truth. MC Chili says, can prayer help with long held stupidity? If you're praying for somebody who's intentionally being that way, of course, the Holy Spirit can enlighten people. So that's something that we should do. But one thing that I think we need to focus on is the fact that in reality, Orthodoxy in America is a small minority religion. And that's just the reality of it. We've got to work on it more. I was noticing that the atheist guy, the atheist church audit guy today reviewed the Christian Science Church. And he reviewed it and he noted it was one of the loveliest buildings he had ever seen in terms of contemporary iconoclastic style. That the windows were beautiful, the walls were beautiful, and there were 3 people in it. Nice big church, 3 people, and no one cared. And that is unfortunate. So when we start, we're already, somewhat behind mentally when we're, focusing on things like the buildings. That's not going to help anyone, especially if they have a lukewarm reading of the gospel. There's not much that can be done there to help them. So all we can do is focus on trying to spread the gospel to all the other people who haven't heard it. And that may be somewhat harder, but it's the reality of the situation. We need to preach outward to the people, and in that sense, we do have a lot of the advantages needed to do that. We do have hierarchies in churches throughout the country. I'm working on kind of building a missions index, at least for those I'm in communion with, etc. And that's why I have that U.S. map up now above my incense work table. And that's another thing to talk about. The incense is back. So for 2014, I'll be putting prices in the post section and etc. Let me see here. Unseen Warfare says, do not argue about the truth with one not knowing the truth, but to him who seeks the truth gives the truth. Well, yeah, exactly. But for people who don't even understand that there's a truth to begin with, we need to say something. And so that's, we do what we can. To try to make something happen. Again, I've got this challenge open. I am going to keep this open probably for another. Let me see here. Traditional Western Orthodoxy says in St. Isidore's history of the Kings of the Goths, Vandals, and Suevi, in chapter 53, a passage was added in later manuscripts about the Filioque, but is not found in the earliest manuscript of the history. Just discovered it. Very true. Very interesting that a lot of this stuff was not there before. So yeah. One thing that I think we've got to avoid, because we are frankly, as true Orthodox, and I'm referring to all true Orthodox cross jurisdictions, whether you're in the GOCK, whether you're in the Artok, ROAC, on the Metropolia, etc. We need to our public work needs to be less echo chambery. Otherwise, we're not going to reach out to people. We need to openly challenge the forces of this world. If we don't, It gets too easy to become self-referential all the time. And I think that's kind of the discomfort that I find right now, is that when people kind of go into that echo chamber, we need to get them out of it. We need to challenge them. And that's why I put this on the screen, because I hope that as many people, traditional Western Orthodoxy, Blodika Enoch says, the conspiracy of silence against true Orthodoxy is, though, gradually breaking down. Well, I think they're more openly trying to do it. Unseen Warfare says, agree, showing up or we aren't welcomed helps. Yeah, it does. But there needs to be some sort of organized response. And we're not, I don't think we're doing that as well as we could. It's Lent, of course. Obviously, everyone's got, their own things to do. But in the end, I think they're going to try to double down on banning, and so we need to kind of double down on noise. I mean, making the not like just noise, like what I mean. I was asked about doing interviews with other true Orthodox clergy. I have yet to find other true Orthodox clergy outside my jurisdiction who would show up here. I have seen in the past 2 weeks, like long held beefs manifesting in my email, which are worthless. And it's kind of sad, because there's a unique and grand opportunity where we can take aim at the ecumenists, we can take aim at the surgeonists, and instead we're taking aim at each other, which is dumb. And I think people who do it are not good people. Let me see here. Reader John says, could your channel foster true Orthodox unity by inviting people you're not in communion with on? I'm trying. I'm trying. And nobody responds. Maybe I should, I'm going to start sending mass emails out. You know what? Hold me accountable, guys. I'm going to start sending mass emails out, and then I'm going to read the responses. And it'll probably be depressing, and a lot of people won't write back. But that's what I'm going to try to do, Reader John. MC Chili says, suggestion, Father, Amazon shopping list for ortho stuff like sensors, etc. I'd order from a list of stuff, and maybe you could get referral money. There's problems galore with that. One, I've tried doing referrals with a couple of things like books in the past year. They just vanish. I've been kicked out of the Amazon referral program repeatedly. You might make 50 cents on a sensor. And it's, the amount of work you put in for one person buying a sensor is not worth it. My suggestion, MC Chili, is go to eBay. You can find a lot of those things really, really cheap. Orthodox Traditionalist Publications says need more people publishing too. Yeah, no doubt. And people who are publishing need to work more together. Unseen Warfare says, Islam, the Holy Spirit comes to mind. Son of the Saint says, I publish a shorter collection of lives of Ukrainian saints today. Unseen Warfare says, I want to do an online physical zine. I mean, yeah, everyone's, I think everyone's got their own personal projects that they want to do. And I'm down with all of them doing them. But they require work. I mean, I myself am in the middle of making incense. I am having to update my computers. Finally got them fixed so that I can get back to work on the book. Working on these live Q&As and trying to solicit donations. And getting the cafe once and for all to getting it working again. It's, is working as well as it can. Sava is putting stuff on. There's a few people who contribute to the cafe. And just, keeping all these things going. But yeah, it's not easy. In some ways it's a lot harder this year than it had been. Let me see. Hopefully I have a brief question. Can you talk about Bishop Palladius Vidavida Rulenko of Lviv. Lviv. I don't know much about him. Not exactly sure. I know the only Pilates I know Ukrainian wise is Pilates Rudenko. I don't think this is the same person. I'm not sure if you do. But unfortunately, these are, unfortunately, there is not always a lot of information when it comes to the Ukrainian exile groups. And I'm not a big fan of discussing the Ukrainian exile groups because of the confusion that had occurred with them. Yeah, well, Bishop Pilates Rudenko, as I understood, lived in, I think he might have actually been, he might have, I don't know if he lived in the Abbey or he was related to, I know for a while we were under him to some degree, but that was before we joined the True Orthodox. He did reject communion with Constantinople after the 1965 deal. A lot of people did. But there isn't much about him. I'm not even sure. Let me just see something here. Hold on. This is me using Google if you're wondering what I'm doing. Let me see here. Claudius Rudenko. I assume you read this in Polish Wikipedia, is it? He died in 1971. Yep. Yep. And so it's just Walgansky. Yeah, this was the, again, this is the formation of the Church of Poland, which is creation of the Patriarchate of Constantinople. The problem with a lot of this is the number of uncanonical churches that the Patriarchate of Constantinople created, and we deal with the fallout of it even today. And so we kind of have to deal with that. Like there is a fish, I'm not sure that I can recognize, like, for example, any of the autocephalies that Constantinople gave out after 1923. I wouldn't know why I should. Yeah, I just like these are things that I can't mentally afford to chase down. If they were not clearly somehow communicating with true Orthodox bodies, it's like I can't chase down everyone who, especially among the Ukrainian, Polish, Belarusian groups that formed in the United States, which were a hodgepodge and led to a lot of weird and uncanonical consecrations later. It's this is ironically a lot of them helped out by the Moscow Patriarchate, who nobody has called in to defend. Let me see who's live. We're going to go back and see if anyone is live here and see if anyone's talking about the dangerous things. Looks like Unseen Warfare is going to be talking about Against False Union shortly. Looks like within the next few minutes, because it looks like it's going to start at 6. Yeah, and not really seeing much else. Doesn't look like anyone's willing to debate the Moscow Patriarchate, and I feel like it's just again, I'm not sure what it is, but people are focused on their own ideas. But yeah, Against False Union is a lovely work, Sava, and it looks like Unseen Warfare is going to start that any minute now. So we will see. Okay. And past that, again, I will be making some statements about the new incense orders coming out. I'm going to be working on, again, more kind of trying to see what else we can do in terms of missions work. In the US, get better at consolidating all of the information, guess praying for true Orthodox to work together more, even though I have no idea how that's at times going to work, considering how even among, I'll put it this way, even among recent converts, I'm seeing the venom come out, and that's shameful. That's really embarrassing that somebody who comes to true Orthodoxy in 2025 is willing to spit on true Orthodox for a 20-year-old beef that they don't recognize. It's embarrassing, and people, especially the people who taught them, should be ashamed of themselves. It's when you consider how difficult the things are. I got to be careful with my words here. One of the things that I should mention, because it is constant, is that many people who ostensibly join true Orthodoxy, and I say ostensibly because have they found a parish? Have they been baptized? Have they communed? In many cases, the answer to this is no. They are online converts, which existed even before the current Ortho-Bro period. Well before it. But what they do is they connect to a particularly angry group, connect to a particularly embarrassing group, etc., and then they go off on everyone else. And their job, effectively, then World Orthodox, a lot of the ecumenists and surgeonists will point to them as an example of true Orthodox disunity. I personally find that sort of behavior, how do I put this? Disgusting. In the olden days, when people searched for who was most right, many of those people pretended to become old believers and, continued living in their isolation and claiming that they were Orthodox. But in reality, to be Orthodox, one must, of necessity, join the church. I feel like that's something that's not happening. And so that is problematic, to say the least. And I'm trying to think, we've got quite a few people in the chat right now. I'm trying to think we all have people that we feel are kind of maybe like just slandering for the sake of slandering. And I've got my personal names in mind, and of course, I think not so much in terms of lay groups or Discord, etc., but in terms of where it is up in the hierarchy. I have my own personal complaints and thoughts about it, where I would put my finger on what is going wrong with true Orthodoxy today. I would say that there's a number of people who like making claims about everyone else. Yeah, well, John, yeah, you said it right. There's always a temptation to join a synod that has the best defense. And I love the choice of your word temptation, because it comes from Satan. So yeah, but let's think about that. Or a synod that has the higher ground. It's all stupid. If we're looking at what the ecumenists and surgeonists are able to do, even though their doctrines are of the devil, then we should be embarrassed by what little we've been able to accomplish. I used to think that the big thing would be to write a book. When I first wrote the history of our synod about 15 years ago, I thought, okay, now that I've written a book, I wrote a couple of books actually, and then I did one or two prayer books. But the point is, I was like, that's it. I would say that this will establish. But the question was, what was I establishing? Was I establishing history, or was I establishing me? And the truth of the matter is, neither of those are true. Let me see here. I have been seemingly talking about this exact subject recently a lot. I assume you're talking about talking about it to someone yesterday, the day before even. John says it just leads to why are we fighting? Why are so disconnected? It happens every single time. Well, I'd love to say that. I would love to say that that's really the case. I mean, maybe it is for you guys, and that's great because that just means that in the future maybe you will see further unity. What I've found is that a lot of what it is that people are holding what they think are trump cards or trump knives or whatever you want to call it to stab the other person with in the back. My solution to this has always been try to answer as openly as possible, even the worst accusations. And what I found is when you try to answer as openly as possible, even the worst accusations, some of these people will try to just block you because they're hoping that, they can find other people who they can pull the wool over. That's really sad when you think about it, because that's really kind of just hoping that people won't notice that you're lying. And so this to me is the biggest problem that we have right now as true Orthodox. What are you crying about, Doogie? What you crying about? But yeah, I think that when it comes right down to it, we need to ask harder questions, and not be afraid of the answers. And if the answers are answers that we're stuck with, then we should just admit we're stuck with them. But we don't even do that. So that's why I'm putting up an open challenge about the Moscow Patriarchate, because I figure at least y'all can all agree on this. But then nobody shows up. I mean, y'all know Moscow Patriarchate people. You're all friends with them. Don't kid yourselves. But put them on the frying pan. Let's find out. But yeah, it is disheartening when one deals with the problems of different people like Gregory of Colorado, and then other people use them as a reference, and then you're stuck because you're like, okay, well, clearly it's like Romanitas. Like, okay, we've disproven this point, but Romanitas, like, okay, did you actually care about the truth? EJ writes, Father Boniface's online class has been a blessing. The last video topic on original sin from an Orthodox versus Protestant review was really good. It is. I find the what he does about his class is great. It is, I mean, not totally my wheelhouse, because it's a combination of teaching and preaching, which is really good. And so that's something that I think is really handy, and it has a real audience. So I definitely recommend going to Father Boniface's channel if you're new to Orthodoxy, especially. Unseen Warfare says, seems to me that everyone wants to be the only true Orthodox in the world. Yeah, and I think it's pathetic. I think that when you see what Orthodox people can accomplish working together, wanting to do everything by yourself sucks. Like, it really does. I mean, I'm used to isolation. I came out of pure isolation. Isolation, if you can avoid it, sucks. Don't do it. It's there's a reason Christ says, for where there are 2 or 3 gathered in my name, there I will be. It can, isolation is sometimes unnecessary. Let me see. Sava says, to be fair, I understand why few people want to talk to me. Okay, I'll skip that because I'm not interested in self-pity. MC Chili says, EJ says, is the online class being recorded for viewing later? I assume this is for Father Boniface. EJ says, yes, I'm Chili. Sava says, Father Boniface's catechism has been lovely. I've taken many notes from it. Yeah, no, I've heard nothing but good things about it, and I highly recommend it for people who want to learn more about the Orthodoxy and the basics of Orthodoxy. Really useful stuff. Let me see here. So yeah, let's have some fun. I'm gonna go to Twitter. I'm gonna see if there's any true Orthodox things that we should know about. So let's just put it on the screen. Why not? And let's try typing in genuine Orthodox. See if anything comes up. These people are afraid of us this week. Okay, well, this is. Let's go to latest because. All right, let's see here. Do. Okay, this is weird. That has nothing to do with us. This is about Netanyahu. Okay, genuine Orthodox Christians aren't online. He's some Catholic kid. Don't let Orthodox on Twitter. Yes, they are. No, okay, what is this guy a true Orthodox or no? He's an NEO kid. We are in fact online. Let's continue and see if there was anything else here. So let's see. Okay. Only themselves, not with us, like the what? What? Are those schismatic Orthodox churches in full communion? This is that chart again and again. Like this is such a let me see here. All right. So, what about the genuine Orthodox churches? These people don't really. They're still. Yeah, this is okay. They're comparing us to Palmarians. These people are. This is like stupid. Okay, let's see if we can find something that's a little less low tier. Basically, if it has true or genuine in front of it, blah, 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 blah. When asked if there's apostolic succession, yeah, that's, no, that would be correct. Okay, so can confirm I am online. Yep. All right, so let's take a look here and see what else we find. What else? Let's see. Okay. Saba says, "What are your thoughts on Father Abagute's The Papacy?" Well, the papacy, the Schismatic Papacy, which is the popular book and the only one that's translated into English, is something it's a must read. And more importantly, I would say it's not only a must read. What are you doing? Hold on, I got to deal with a dog. It's a must read, and honestly, I say this so clearly. Really read the footnotes and follow up and go to the patristic citations in the footnotes. People don't do that, and it comes out terribly. GOC Michael Gilius is so sorry, Father. There is no defense for the MPs since every decision and actions have chipped away at the very nature of existence. Its existence, so it's out completely outside the church. That goes for all world Orthodoxy. Well, I agree, but I would think that one was at least bold enough to show up. But let me see here. Unseen Warfare says definitely rough when I wasn't around a parish. Yeah, it is. Adrian White says we must all pray for discernment continuously. Very true. John says some people are ignorant of history. LOL. Yeah, but that doesn't stop them from talking and having a platform, etc. Saba says I've been reading it recently and have been very much enjoying it. Probably the best book about papists I've seen. I would agree. It's definitely in my top 5. So let's see here. We got anything else? Let's go back to YouTube. Let's see here. Okay. All right. So this was okay. Against False Union is now at 8:30. Just so you know. Let me see here if I go to live. It's the again this fat atheist. I don't know whether to deal with that. No. This is just YouTube is really difficult sometimes. The Chosen, Last Supper, world premiere. This is disturbing how much stuff that's like they're kind of creating almost like a pseudo church, parachurch around this Mormon-inspired television show. Yeah, it doesn't look like it doesn't look like there's anyone talking about anything I would say of interest. So I'm going to go back here. Okay. Okay, so we'll close that. Yeah, once again, we do these so that we can keep on our toes. We did review recent events from muspat.ru. We did try to review the Protestant commenting on Orthodoxy, and it was just too mind numbing. Yeah, Reader John says the footnotes in the book are wonderful. Yes, Solid Saint says, what are your thoughts on Tsar Pavel the First? There's apparently controversy around accepting him as a martyr. Tsar Pavel the First. Saba, sometimes I feel like the questions you ask are trick questions disguised as real ones. Tsar Paul the First. Is this the one who abdicated? Okay, he was assassinated 1801. Okay, is he recognized as a saint? Does he have a cultus? Yeah, I don't see him as a cultist. Denise asks, what does one do when there's no genuine Orthodox church to go to and be a part of? The answer is very simply, you say Typica at home. You contact the nearest true Orthodox bishop you can, or the nearest true Orthodox priest, and you work to be a part in distance of that parish until you can go, commune, etc. And then perhaps as more people in your area have interest, then maybe they'll go with you, etc. And a mission can be formed and the priest can come to you. These are, it's kind of the basic way things have been done for the, the past 2,000 years, ultimately. You seek the Lord, you follow him, you go as close as you can, and then you work and you pray. Sometimes if that may mean doing it alone or, as part of a small group, or there may be a group you're not even aware of. Many times, I cannot even count how many times people have said, I'm by myself, and then it turns out that there's a whole bunch of true Orthodox near them. So, Father Boniface says, Benedicite. No problem. So we're now in the 8th minute of the second hour. And again, I have my challenge up on the screen. I am surprised. So I didn't mean to offend you. I just can't help but see like some aspects of things. I don't know what to say. I work in apologetics, but I'm not a historian. So, that ultimately, like historical questions that seem to me to be somewhat obscure, I may treat as trivia. And that's probably wrong on my part, but it is something that I will often do. Okay, I think that may be enough. Okay, we're just going to bend this. For those wondering what I am doing, I am bending iced tea powder with no sugar into what is what's left of a water bottle. And we'll continue on. Okay, so yeah, I've got that on the screen because I'm hoping somebody would be interesting. Let me see here. I was making a generalization. That doesn't mean there aren't exceptions. Of a friend who I find to be a genuine Orthodox. Well, it's not a okay, so you mean genuine, not like jurisdictionally genuine. You mean like nice people genuine. Okay. Someone says iced tea powder. Oi, 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 I'll have to send you actual tea. No, I'm cool with I'm cool with the tea I have. I mean, you can send it if you want. I don't mind gifts, but I am more focused on keeping the lights on. But in any case, so once again, support the channel. We at NFTU do need your help. Support by subscribing or donating at NFTU.net with various options like PayPal, Cash App, BTC, LTC, or Monero, or on GiveSendGo. Unseen Warfare says some make house churches or start reader groups to do Typica, and that is perfectly normal. This is part of the reason why I've focused on people learning Typica. If you can't make it to a church on Sunday, you should say Typica, and it will help because you're still praying with the church, and this makes a difference and helps spread the word further, even if you keep it in the confines of your home. Yeah, that's the proper way, is to ultimately you start by making house churches, and then eventually you build to a mission. That's what we have here. We have a house church. But in any case, you just you keep working with what you have. And people don't understand this is the same basic process you will find in World Orthodoxy. The difference being is that they often have more people, and so they have more money to build something bigger. But it's the exact same process. Nothing has changed except the bishops has changed. Father Boniface says that's one of my goals, to help start these groups, and we do. We know that your kind of missionary mindset has helped a lot. Unseen Warfare says I personally have to travel before joining the monastery. Yes, I was. Unseen Warfare is currently at monastery. I'm not sure how much information. Denise says great options. Appreciate your help. It's all I can. Well, it's all we got, unfortunately. But let's take a look here. So I wonder why nobody is. I mean, I imagine some people must want to at least question the premise. Like, I find it very odd that there's nobody who wants to defend the Moscow Patriarchate. I mean, usually what will happen is groups like, Orthodox Ethos or the J Diorites or whatever, they'll talk a big game. But when confronted with the possibility of somebody saying something live to a true Orthodox, they get very, very nervous. And that's kind of sad. I mean, like that, this is something even papists challenge them on this, and they always get scared. But we're openly asking them that question. And that's why the title, Moscow Ecumenism, always something. It's literally a lot of these are going to be me waiting for any sort of attempts at contradiction. Let's try Moscow Patriarchate. I don't know. Let's see if that pulls up anything. Probably won't, except some Ukraine junk. And I call it junk because a lot of it's just NATO stuff. Oh, this is interesting. No, don't cry, Doogie. Why are you crying? Okay. The new catacomb says the MP continues to flagrantly force their union with Monophysitism on the faithful more each day. Let me put this up. Yeah, I think that's true. Some Deacon Victorious did say that. Don't debate Tio, you'll lose on history and ecclesiology. And I think World Orthodox know it deep down. Yeah, they do. But then that's why we have to keep asking them and challenging them, because it seems like if they won't admit the truth, pop. The MP continues to flagrantly force their union with Monophysitism on their faithful each day, even to the point of acknowledging that spiritual differences are simply means of terminology that must be altered. From the OCP, this was last week. Okay, the week before. No, just Moscow, Russia delegation from the Malankara Church, that's the Indian Monophysites, led by Metropolitan Yohanan Demetrius of Delhi, visited the Holy Trinity Lavra of St. Sergius in the Moscow Theological Academy on March 9th, 2025, with the blessing of His Holiness Patriarch Kirill in all Russia. The visit aimed to deepen bilateral relations between the two churches. The delegation attended the Divine Liturgy of St. Basil the Great at the Pokrovsky Academic Church. Bishop Kirill of Sergiev, Posad, and Dimitrov, abbot of the Lavra and rector of the Academy, welcomed guests, highlighting the historical ties between the churches dating back to visits from Patriarch Pimen and Catholicos Basil Mar Thomas Matthews I in the 1970s. Bishop Kirill emphasized the unique traditions of both churches and the potential for mutual learning, noting the Malankara Church's interest in Russian icon painting and singing traditions. He also mentioned the recent graduation of a Malankara priest from the Academy's church singing art facility. Metropolitan Yohanan Demetrius conveyed greetings from His Holiness Catholicos Mar Thomas Matthew III and expressed gratitude for the warm welcome. He highlighted the efforts of Patriarch Kirill to strengthen practical cooperation between the churches and noted the ongoing theological dialogue aimed at resolving terminological differences and affirming adherence to the apostolic tradition. The delegation visited the Trinity Cathedral of the Lavra, venerating the relics of St. Sergius of Radonezh and the Holy Trinity icon by St. Manderulev. They also toured the monastery and the academy, including the Assumption and Refectory churches, the sacristy, and the icon painting workshops. During a meeting with Bishop Kirill, the delegation discussed future theological consultations and exchanged gifts. Metropolitan Yohanan Demetrius also emphasized a strong relationship between Russia and India, expressing support for Russia during current global challenges. He expressed hope for increased cooperation in areas such as iconography, church hymns, and other aspects of church life, aiming to demonstrate their shared unity in Christ. The delegation was accompanied by Hieromonk Stefan Yegumenov and Hieromonk Mark Akhmatkhanov from the Moscow Patriarchate's Department for External Church Relations. And let's see here. So there you got your Indian Patriarch, some more Indian clerics, Indian Monophysites, and MP people. Okay. And so let's stop sharing. Let me see what we got here. Let's give that a like and a repost, and we'll do that here for agreeing. And let's continue. The New Catacombs, very interesting account to follow. This was interesting news. Apparently, the Estonian Church of Constantinople, their Estonians, support banning the Moscow Estonians, and the Moscow Estonians are complaining to the United Nations about persecution by the Constantinopolitan Estonians. So the whole thing is uncanonical and horrible. Let's see. Tegan F says, do you have any book recommendations for reaching Protestants? There are a few different ones, but I would go, me personally, I would go with the most basic, like stuff like St. Innocent's work towards the early Americans. It's his major work, St. Innocent of Alaska. Give me 1 sec, because I don't remember things as easily as I did. On the Indication of the Way into the Kingdom of Heaven. Okay, that's the book, On the Indication. Let me see here. Okay, bullish, consistent, way growing hair. Sava says, I was being told last year the MP was going into the communion with the Melanchthons this year. Something how none of the other Monophysites recognize the Melanchthons. I forget whether they're Church of the East, etc., or if they're actual Monophysites. There's some kind of heretic, but it wouldn't surprise me. Again, it's a business deal, bricks. So the whole thing is just kind of sad. Let's see here. Father Stephen Allen recommends Christianity to the Church by Hilarion and Troitsky for Protestants. That's actually a very good choice. I was a big fan of that book. So, yeah, definitely I also suggest that. Let me see here. Yeah, so here at the 21st minute, we kind of touched on a lot of things that we usually touch on. I was kind of hoping to see if I could find a challenge, but it doesn't look like that is what is going to happen. It looks like I am going to see if anyone is willing to, maybe I'll just put that out there. I'm going to try this. We'll try this for 15 minutes. Who knows? It probably won't work. Is anyone willing to challenge to defend the Moscow Patriarchate? Why is my microphone picking up the dog and I can't hear the dog with my own ears? Oh, it's because they're outdoor dogs. Let's put this here on the screen. I'm gonna see. Do the view on YouTube thing. Close and I'm going to put it on Gab for fun, even though most Moscow Patriarchate people are definitely not on Gab. So I'm going to take that and we're going to put that there and I'm going to quote. No, I don't think anyone will. It's yeah, that's this doesn't surprise me. But we'll see. It's not in the canons with the rest of their doctrinal definitions. The Synod of Hatfield probably just included filioque on their own. Now, you can say that, guy, but the problem is this is incorrect. Saint Bede explicitly references council. And as I claim to not want to do people's homework for them, people push me all the time. Okay, let me see here. A moment. See here. Okay. See here. Father Saints says, I know someone pointed out how the Belarusian MP people during World War II condemned communism and used them as proof. Sergianism wasn't a thing. Then I learned Sergius told them to do that. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me at all. You know what? I'm going to just let this guy do his own homework, read the Acts of the Lateran Council. Let me see here. All right. Well, we're here. We are waiting, and I'm gonna take a moment to step out and have some. Okay, back. Let's see here. Okay, so Chiefin says thank you. Yeah, that's so very good. I'd love to have Father Stephen Allen on that topic of having other true Orthodox clergy, but he needs to get a blessing, and he hasn't gotten one. So we continue on. Let's see here. Let's see if any of these Orthodox guys are on live. I'm bored. Let me see something here. Let's see. Nope. No. I even thought Jay Dyer was on. I was just gonna start live streaming and commenting, but he stopped. Weird. All right, let's see who else is. Let's try. We're gonna do Christian live. Let's just look up Christianity. We're gonna do Christianity. I don't even know. Let's do. I mean, atheism. I don't know. Should we debate the atheist guys? Should we bother the atheist guys? Because they're on the screen. I was curious. Let me just see here. Let's see what this guy's
saying. I'm thinking about doing this every day until like 6 or 7 Central Time. I have fun having these conversations.
These are like
on here. How do I get?
These are kind of like presuppositional
Don't be good at responding to their arguments.
And they I don't know that they have a good argument.
I mean, that's really what it is. Like
if we're going to talk, logical people,
like,
and these people claim to be logical,
hang out are places where the theists don't like to go.
Well, I'm hanging out where the theists don't like to go.
I mean, there's a lot of theists in the chat, and I keep trying to have them come up, but they aren't even raising their, or they aren't.
They're
even
cowards.
us.
They're chat rats. That's all they are. They were born chat rats, and they will die chat rats, and only their fleas will mourn them.
Okay, well let's test
Breakfast Tacos develops his entire worldview after.
Let's test this out.
You want to run? That's fine. I get it. But
Okay. So
you
now,
just sit there and chat. I mean, why don't you actually have a conversation?
I mean,
Friar Joseph
they don't know how.
Sweden, can you raise your hand or wave at me or something?
oh,
That wasn't
sure.
even a straw man. It was something even weaker than that.
No, it's just an insult. I think this is a real person.
I think I'm a real person.
What's going on, Friar Joseph Sweden?
Well, it's I haven't been called friar often, but this
Can't
is
hear
kind
you.
of cool. Hold on. Oh, okay.
Flip your microphone boom down.
Huh?
You might want to check
Your
your
microphone.
microphone.
No, his
Dude.
microphone boom is up. You gotta flip it down.
Flip.
Oh,
There
yeah.
might be a different mic that he's using, though.
This is
That's
fascinating. All right.
Can't hear you, Friar.
So maybe flip your microphone on your left side down and see if that works. Might be muted.
Flip down the microphone.
We cannot hear you.
Huh.
Can't hear you.
Hold on. Let me try to figure this one out. Hold on. Maybe if I lower it or raise it. Hold on. Can
You're
you hear
just
me
sitting
now?
there insulting people in chat. Nobody even cares.
I haven't said anything in the
right?
chat.
I've already been very clear. I'm about a
All right,
20th
so
of my avatar.
You can't
but-
hear me at all?
Hey, I would love to have God Logic on here, man.
I bet you would. Let's
Still
see
can't hear
here.
you.
That's so weird
Joseph.
because I can
If
hear
you hit
fine.
your setting,
Okay.
you might be able to pop in.
Yeah, if
Or
you
you
go
might
to
be able to
settings
get
at
it
the
working.
bottom, hold on, let me
Okay.
walk him through this, and then go to audio, and then you see a selection
Uh-huh.
from mic. You might have to go in there, and if you're not
Okay.
using your headphone microphone,
Uh-huh.
select the one that you are using.
Okay.
Like for
can you-
me, I'm instead of the one that came with the webcam that I have, I'm
Mhm.
using this, and so I go in there and I select the Yeti.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes,
we
there we
can.
go. Awesome.
Oh,
What's
wonderful.
going on?
Well, we're here. I'm here on my stream, and I've been trying to find an opponent for a topic that probably is of no interest to you. Now, you guys are these philosophical atheists. You have like a kind of an opening pitch, correct?
Well, I
Yes.
would more like to ask you a question if you'd prefer to engage with atheist presuppositional apologetics. It only
Okay.
takes about 14 minutes to deconvert you.
Oh, this should be good then. Finally, I have a hobby. All right, go for it.
I have been going for 2 hours though, and I need to run to the restroom real fast and then get water. So if you want to talk to the people, feel free to for a minute. If you want to ask them your question, I got to go run to the restroom.
Oh yeah,
though.
no,
And then I'll be right back after
Sure.
I run to the restroom and get some water. I'll be 2 minutes maybe.
Okay, all right. I'll just
Howdy.
In the meantime, I'm an atheist, so you can shoot questions my way.
okay.
here.
Why are you an atheist?
Because I think that there is scant evidence for the existence of God, and I think that the evidence against the existence of God is enough to establish the likelihood of the claim God does not exist being true.
Can you give me some evidence against the existence of God?
So normally, I'm what's called a naturalist. I think the natural world is all that exists. I don't think that anything beyond the natural, like supernatural, preternatural, spiritual
Mhm.
things, I take that none of that is real. Normally, there's like three main points that I would give in favor of atheism, and that's the success of empirical science, the incongruence of religious belief across space and time.
Whoa! You got to define these, because when you say the success of empirical science, I need to understand what you mean by that. I'm kind of a dumb guy.
Yeah, the fact that science is extremely successful in
Lots of things are
describing how the
extremely
world
successful.
works.
I mean, okay, that
isn't
to
just
me
like
that's an appeal
it's
to
successful
populism.
in how it describes reality.
Yeah, that's an appeal to popularity. But
Whose popularity did I appeal to?
by saying it's extremely successful to many, you are implying popularity.
Well, no, it's successful objectively.
Yeah.
Well, what do you mean by successful?
That it works. It delivers us accurate descriptions of reality and how reality works in ways that are understandable, meaningful, and communicable.
Okay. So now basically what you're saying is that naturalistic explanations by their nature are better than what I guess we would call theistic ones.
Well, I'm not saying that, but I would agree with that statement. Yes.
Now, what about scientific discoveries made by theists? Are those
What about them?
are they also good and useful, even though they were made by
Of
theists?
course they are.
Well, that's strange because their presuppositions included supernatural explanations, whereas their scientific
Sure, but the science doesn't.
Why did you sir me?
person
Like you're
might
getting
have-
okay. Why are you getting indignant? Relax.
I'm not getting
you
indignant.
just
What
got
I'm saying is that,
indignant,
well, I didn't. But what I'm saying is that the people have certain theistic presuppositions, but the science that they do does not.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll accept that. So what you're saying is that one can have good conclusions even if they're holding to what you would consider faulty metaphysical presuppositions, correct?
Sure.
Okay. All right. Well, that's good. That's good. All right. So that kind of settles, clears up my questions about success of science. So it's not a theistic or non-theistic question. What was your second thing?
Well, what do you mean by it's not a theistic or a non-theistic?
Because what you've effectively established is that science as methodology can be used whether in a theistic or an atheistic
Yeah, it can be
context.
used.
Right.
Can be used by anybody, regardless of their beliefs. That's the nature of science.
Right, but you were presenting it as a counter argument against theism, and I'm saying it's
It
irrelevant.
is, because science doesn't show us that anything supernatural exists.
Yeah, except scientists who are theists would disagree with you, so this is a moot point.
Yeah,
What was
them
your second
disagreeing
one?
doesn't make them right.
It doesn't make you right. The point is, I want to get to
Well,
something.
but I
that
am
actually is
right. I am
No, but
right
you're not
that
right.
science does not show anything supernatural. If it does, then give me an example of something that is supernatural and is accepted by the majority of scientists working in the relevant fields.
I would argue that half of the theory that you guys work with sounds supernatural, but that's neither here nor there. Unless you're a scientist, in which case I apologize and I'll ask your relevant field, etc. But what was your second thing? Because the first one's tiring me.
The second one was the incongruence of religious beliefs across space and time.
In other words, people disagreed with each other over time, history.
Yeah,
countries,
religious
et
beliefs
cetera.
have been vastly different and have changed over space and time across regions and time periods. And this isn't expected given the claims of many of the largest religions today, claims that God has some sort of desire to reveal himself to us through
Interesting.
some truth that he gives us, yet we can't agree on what that is.
Well,
or
hold on, because I would think that that's linked to your first premise, considering things like scientific inquiry. For example, miasma theory being replaced by germ theory. That religious views, regardless of where we are on the spectrum on that globally, those would be affected by our changes in our understanding of the natural world, or would you expect them to stay the same forever?
I would expect a lot of different styles of beliefs to change as we scientifically and technologically advance.
And I would think
Including
that
religion.
that seems common sense, doesn't it?
Sure, perhaps.
Okay. So incongruency based on the scientific development, human understanding, etc. These easily explain why you would find incongruence between different belief systems. I
don't see how, especially if God is both all-powerful and desires to reveal himself through some sort of revealed truth.
But this assumes that every religion claiming revealed truth has an exclusive mark on it, and more importantly, are correct about it. Many more false beliefs have been discarded than true beliefs maintained over the past how many thousands of years of human existence. So that's why I'm wondering, like, a lot of what you call incongruency to me seems like stuff shaking itself out over time historically.
Yeah, but why would God give us a bunch of false narratives and incomplete information that we have to work through, and half the people get it wrong?
I would argue that he didn't.
That doesn't seem
but humans,
conducive to his goal of revealing himself to us.
I would argue that none of that is necessarily stuff that God revealed. Human understanding of lightning, for example, while that may be true in Norse paganism, even though the Hebrew religion eventually becoming Christianity would mention thunder, it actually has no real meaning doctrinally. Would people still think that lightning striking something would be a sign from God? Yeah, sure, but it wasn't integral to the teaching of the faith. So, basically, I would say that doesn't strike me as okay. What was your third one?
My third one was that theism is ill-defined.
Theism is ill-defined, and that's an interesting one.
That's
So
correct.
when you say theism is ill-defined, I assume you're saying, I mean, who
Like what constitutes a god?
what constitutes?
Well,
a
more just
God?
like, yeah, sort of like God has given all these different properties. And this sort of relates with the fact that religious beliefs are incongruent over time and space. So our concepts of
well,
God.
we could say we could say disagreeable rather than incongruent.
No, they're incongruent. What Muslims believe is not consistent with what Christians believe, which is not consistent.
But they're not
with
the
what
same people, and they would
Hindus
never
believe.
claim that they are.
They don't need to be. They are incongruent beliefs. There is
Okay,
an
so in other words,
incongruence in
religion.
religious belief across space and time.
What your argument boils down to is religions disagree with each other. Correct?
Well, yeah, they are incongruent with one another.
Right. I would say they're all false.
That seems unexpected. If there is an all-powerful God
No, it
that
doesn't.
wants to reveal himself to us.
Absolutely not. I disagree completely, especially with your example with Islam. I mean, if you take Christianity and its development over the world, and then you take Islam and its development over the world, and you look at the actual history, you can see that one was, I mean, for lack of a better word, developed by a dude who clearly kind of wanted a religion to make up on his own that sounded like it would work. I do not think that I can't hold Christianity and Islam in the same regard because of how they formed. So that's that's what I would say to that. So what you call incongruency is what I would call other religions being false.
Yeah, you think other religions are false, and Hindus think that you're wrong, and Muslims think that you're wrong.
And Hindus and I think that their belief systems are
that's the incongruity.
False. Well, that's why my job is to argue sometimes with them when they are trying to tell us we are wrong. I mean, that's for all the talk of this channel for, I guess, is for atheist apologetics. I've worked in Christian apologetics. I find atheist apologetics to be amusing, for lack of a better word, because you're basically arguing to defend nothing. Let me see here.
Well, atheism isn't nothing. That doesn't make any sense.
Well, no, it's a belief in nothing. Ultimately.
No, it's not.
Of course it is. What is it?
God is nothing.
Well, what does atheism mean?
Atheism is a belief that no gods exist.
Atheism is a belief in no God.
I would argue that it's a lack of belief in any sort of deity.
Yeah, I don't use it that way, nor does any philosopher. So that's why I'm using.
I don't care about philosophers. I think they're retarded. Anyway, but in any case, let's.
Depends on which one.
Quite a few.
If they're Platonic, I would say I would agree.
Well, it depends. I guess it depends. Memento Mori asks, so is this the usual Reddit atheist contentions? I don't know yet. I'm new on this channel. I guess somebody on their channel said, just wait till Taco rolls up with atheistic precept. Yeah, I can't wait. I'm very curious.
Yeah, go ahead, Taco.
Oh, yeah,
it looks like you're back.
Yeah, so
hey there, Taco.
Hey.
Atheist, you gave a terrible mischaracterization of atheist presuppositional apologetics. So atheist presuppositional apologetics is simply elucidating the truth to unrighteous individuals like yourself that are rejecting the self-evident truth of our shared naturalistic atheistic reality that's been revealed to all of sound mind through both natural and special revelation in an undeniable way, right? So that's my question to you.
That's not a question,
Joseph.
it's a statement.
So Joseph, do you reject the self-evident truth of our shared naturalistic atheistic reality that's been revealed to all of sound mind through both natural and special revelation in an undeniable way?
Absolutely, and I do it.
So have you ever seen a god or a supernatural thing?
Have you ever seen a dragon?
No, but that's why I don't think they're real. Have you ever seen a god or a supernatural thing?
I have personally witnessed God, yes.
How did you see God?
Through my eyes.
A lot of drugs, man.
So do you think you're a prophet?
Nope.
So how did you see God? Tell me about
I will ask you a question first. You
No,
said that
how did you see
atheism
God?
No, you said atheism self-evident. Demonstrate it.
That's not what I said there
Yeah,
at
you
all.
said it at the beginning of the statement.
You can look at the trees.
The trees are not evidence of atheism. I see evidence.
Yes,
of
they
God.
are. Look at the trees. They're
I have
flat out evidence for
I am
atheism.
looking at a tree right now, and it's evidence of God.
Now you know no gods exist. Welcome
Nope,
to atheism, brother.
That's proof that God exists.
That's literally proof no gods exist.
No, I disagree. That tree is definitely proof God exists. It's
No,
definitely,
that's definitely
You know
proof
what-
no gods exist.
You know what's the best proof of it? That tree is older than your worldview.
So that tree that you're looking at is literally proof
The
that
tree
no
that
gods
you're looking at
exist.
is probably not over 1,000 years old. Let's be real. It's probably
you know,
maybe it's probably less
realistic-
than 100.
Realistically, modern atheism is a 20th century phenomenon. And this
Now-
Well, modern
Joseph.
atheism is just like
You're-
modern Christianity is, but Christianity
I don't
is
believe in
2,000
a
years
modern-
old.
yeah,
Just like
Christianity
atheism
Okay.
is a couple thousand years old.
This
I
is
would
all
say
red
that-
hair.
that-
Okay. So
First
now,
off, a Christian would be considered an atheist 2,000 years ago. in
okay,
a
nobody
Platonic
cares about.
system.
So
I know.
What
care
we
about
want to
now.
hear about is this God monster that you saw. So
The
tell
God
us how
monster?
you
You
saw
think it
this
was a
God
monster?
monster. You're unmuted.
No, I didn't. Oh, I was muted this whole time?
That's correct. That's
Well, the
correct.
good
Because
news is
you
you-
were not engaging, right?
That's okay. The good news
how are
is
you
it's on
gonna-
my channel as well.
So tell
But,
us about this
yeah,
God monster.
Now we find out it's just muted. These people are cowards. I don't
All right,
believe
so you're
in a
going to
God
engage with my
monster.
question directly, or you're going to keep running.
He
Tell us
keeps
about this
muting.
God monster you
He's
saw. You've been
muting.
muted, and I'm going to
That's
unmute
hilarious.
you, and you're going to respond
Yeah,
directly to the
I don't
question.
believe
So
in a God
tell us about this
monster.
God
I believe in
monster.
a
you saw.
God that judges all of us.
Are you going to tell us about this God monster
Are
you've
you
seen, or
gonna
what's going on?
Can you explain what you mean by righteous and unrighteous? What's your
No,
standard?
tell us about this God monster you've
I'm not
seen.
going to let you make comments about me, make statements about me, and then not let
So
me
you're
respond.
either going to engage directly with the atheist presuppositional
I
apologetic
never-
script,
I'm-
or you're going to leave the channel. So
and
either
it's still-
engage
and
with
you know
my
what? It's
script
gonna look
or
so
leave
much
the
be-
channel.
Here, it's going to look so much better on mine.
Engage with the script or leave.
The script? You have a script?
Yes, correct.
Okay. I did engage with the script. I believe in God. I believe in dragons. I believe. Oh, am I muted again? I'm muted again.
All right.
Oh,
so
this
are you
is
going to
so
engage with the
sad.
script or leave?
I'm going to engage with what
Well,
script?
you're muting him before he can respond.
Exactly. It's a joke. It's hilarious. I'm loving it. Thank you for that.
Will you just humor him and engage
I'm
with
trying to engage with it, but everything I bring up, he gets mad about and tries to speak over me and mutes me. It's pathetic.
Yeah. Are you going to engage with the script or not?
Can you please
said-
give me the script again? Is it that stupid line you read with a whole bunch of baked?
I don't need to. You already said you saw a God monster. So tell us about this God monster you saw.
God monster. You're a liar.
You said you
Saw
experienced.
experience God, not a God monster. That's a lie. So stop.
So
lying.
tell us about it.
What do you want to know?
Tell us about it. Are you deaf?
What is how what did he look like?
What do I look like?
No, what was God?
Oh, I
look
didn't.
like?
I
You said
didn't
you saw him.
see it.
You just said you saw it. You contradicted yourself
Okay.
there.
Okay. If you want that, that's
You're
just
going to sit here and you're going to state contradictions? You're a liar.
brother. No, this is so sad.
You don't even have a foundation for morality
All
or
right,
anything,
here.
and you're sitting here lying to me?
Hey. Calm down. I saw God as light personally. I've experienced God in many different ways. I know you may not like them. You obviously believe, you are so upset that you believe a tree is a proof of atheism, whereas most humans
You're
see
drunk.
a tree as
Look
a
at the
proof
trees,
of-
bro.
Trees show God's beauty. The grass shows.
So the
God's
only
beauty.
reason you say that is because you aren't of sound mind. What's going on?
in other
here?
words,
And you say you,
wait.
you saw.
So if you think
So you
people
said
believe-
that you. So
Are you
yes. So
saying that
everybody that
people
doesn't.
who believe
Everybody that believes in a God is not of sound mind.
So
for clarification.
wait.
So
not everyone
you
who
said
believes
that
in
you
God is
saw.
crazy?
You're not going to overtalk me on my channel. So you think that you saw God as light.
Everyone who thinks God is real is crazy.
That was my statement. Yes.
That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
Look at the
Honestly.
trees.
The trees are beautiful. God's beautiful. You're this, whatever that fact
You're
is.
not sound mind, obviously.
I will say my tree is way better looking than your mascot. I guess
You're
mascot-
simply prevaricating and obfuscating. Now, I asked you this God monster, and you said you saw light. You're telling
lying.
me that the light is your God monster?
I never said it was a monster. You're a liar, dude. You're just making.
You think that your God monster is light?
I see. You keep going on with God monster. I never said monster. You're just lying. You can't do anything but.
So you think it's light?
I think that God is more than light, but yeah, I think light is divine, of divine.
But you saw light, and you think it's your God.
You can. Am I not muted? I can't tell. But no, I think this is like kind of sad. Like your argument seems to be. First off, you're hiding presuppositions. Now I know that you have a presupposition that believers in God are insane. That's problematic to say the least. I don't know if I can be heard. If I can, fine. I can on my channel. But the point is, if your underlying presuppositions are that natural beauty do not demonstrate God, but demonstrate a lack of God, if your argument that people who believe in a God are insane, then I don't think you're arguing from a place of what we would call good faith at all, which I guess you probably wouldn't do either. And so, yeah, I'm like amazed by this. This is like, this is sad. But yeah, I would say Reconquista, I don't know what he is. He claims to not be anything. We know that all these pictures are AI. So, obviously he's trying to, I don't know, glorify a Reddit looking thing. I assume I'm muted right now. But in any case, yeah. Yeah, this seems to reaffirm my suspicions of the typical angry Reddit atheist. I would agree. I just thought his Mormon impression was pretty good, but his opening, but past that, kind of sad. But yeah. Anyway, let me see here. No one's saying anything. I don't know if I'm booted or not. No idea what happened. Are you guys there? No idea. No idea. It's just some fat guy doing all sorts of stuff and no one's responding anymore. If you boot me, just boot me. No? Nope. Guess they're not saying anything. Oh, Hank. Hank, did you really show up in this chat? Is Hank really a part of Oh, Hank. No. That's so sad. I don't know. What should we do? Should we do chat? I don't know. The host has muted your mic. This is like a bad practical joke. Imagine having to face God and explain why you called him a God monster. Yeah. Breakfast Taco says you have us all muted. That's false. Oh wait. Okay, now I'm unmuting myself, and I'll wait for you to mute me accordingly. I still didn't hear anything from anyone else, so I'm not sure. I guess they're trying to find maybe they're trying to find my channel. And yeah, Hank found it. This is kind of sad. So, yep. That's it. That's all you guys got. You're all silent now. Trees, grass, dragons. Y'all ran out. That's it. Yeah. This is amusing. But I am glad. Let's see. Does that help? Let me see if I can. Skeptically Pissed says, caller is an imbecile. Oh, no one else is talking. Yeah, I know. Not Hank. Hank is just there. This is, oh, man. All right. You know what? Obviously, I don't know if they talk back or they just gave up. Maybe I got to check my settings again. Make sure. Did I get reset or something? Wow. Just weird. He is pretending to his audience he can't hear you. I don't think anyone can hear them. I'm trying my best. I'm altering the audio. It's pretty freaking sad. Yeah, that's there. It's there. People are saying they can't hear me, but I'm not seeing anyone else talking. So who knows? Maybe they've got some other channel. I don't know. This was boring. Oh, yep. Nothing else I got here. Father Simeon says he's a very loving, merciful God monster. He is indeed, but he's not a monster. That's something they made up. Yeah, so I have no idea what to think on this. This is amusing. Let's see here. I don't have anyone muted. You know what's funny? People can actually, because what you guys don't realize is I'm actually streaming the StreamYard video, which means that I'm actually streaming inside. People can see my settings and they can see my mic moving. So whatever y'all are doing, I don't know. Holla if you hear me, Master P. All right. Well, this was a lost cause. So we're gonna go. Let's just let them go. Bye-bye. And all right, we're done there. Let's close that. And all right. Yeah, this Lord have mercy. That was sad. That was kind of sad. I was hoping to engage it, but then it got weirder and weirder, and then it turns out, oh, all theists are crazy. Okay, this is getting cheesy. Well, that was great. I have some stuff to do, and so I would say that this was, in some ways, a successful stream. In the fact that we talked to some people, I was not people I kind of wanted to really talk to, but I ran out of people. So we just get back to what we're doing. I have been scrolling that support the channel thing the entire time because, frankly, we could use it. And unfortunately, sometimes people, they have the money to help. Sometimes they don't, and that's normal. But if anyone wants to assist, you can either super chat or go to NFTU.net. Yeah, they don't have arguments except to scream. It was pretty funny that the first person I spoke to, I managed to say one sentence, and he was like, "Sir," and I was like, "What? Why are you getting so mad?" Good day, sir. Subdeacon Itario has mentioned on Father McCall's servers before he joined the GOCA. Don't debate too Orthodox. You'll lose on history and ecclesiology. Oh, this is interesting. Subsister says, found you. You must be from that other low-quality channel. Big Sosa says, I asked Dyer in a space if he would debate any true Orthodox, and he, alongside Father Deacon Ananias, said that most true Orthodox are mentally ill. 85% to be exact. This seems like an ad hom, but why won't many World Orthodox debate true Orthodox? Because they know that they don't have the answer. Yeah, let me see. I'm playing the biscuit game. Yep. Well, these people, man. They don't have good arguments. Oh yeah, you cooked the first kid quick. I wasn't trying to. I was just trying to understand what he was saying, and then I realized it was just nonsense. It was good day, sir. Whatever. All right, folks. In any case, again, don't forget to support the channel if you can. Thank you to everyone who, to our listeners. I'm an atheist and you got under his skin fast. Well, welcome skeptics, doubters. You are welcome on this channel. So even if you are not Orthodox yet, we want to convert you, but we'll engage you fair and square. So welcome. Glad to hear that we out of the darkness came some light. A questioning atheist who questions everything maybe you'll question us. By the way, speaking of which, on Sundays we have our live question and answer show where anyone can call in and put their challenges or questions about the Orthodox faith. Thank you to everyone, to our guest, Friar, to our listeners, to our guest, Herman showed up, to those who asked questions and had comments, and to those who support our mission. Support the channel. We at NFTU need your help. Support us by subscribing or donating at NFTU.net. On Give Us a Go or on Odyssey. We remember all of you in our prayers, and thank you all for the support for NFTU. And as always, don't forget to like and subscribe. Have a great night. Christ, God, mercy, save us. Amen.